It started with a single, simple rule. Don't answer the door after midnight. Kara thought the flyer taped to her new apartment door was a joke when she moved in. The old brick building downtown had a reputation. Cheap rent, strange noises, tenants that never stayed long. She figured the odd warning was just part of its creepy charm. She wadded up the flyer, tossed it in the trash, and didn't think about it again. Until the knocking began. It was her third night in the place. A cold wind rattled her windows as she curled on the couch with a book, trying to ignore the creaks and groans of the aging building. Midnight came and went, and she eventually drifted off in the flickering light of her reading lamp. Knock, knock, knock. She jerked awake, heart racing. 1:12 a.m. The knocks came again, 3 sharp raps, not frantic, but deliberate. Bleary-eyed, Kara tiptoed to the peephole, her breath caught in her throat. A man stood on the other side of the door, tall and thin, in an old-fashioned black coat and brimmed hat. His skin was pale as wax, but it was his eyes, or rather, the lack of them, that made her stagger back in horror. 2 gaping, empty sockets stared straight at the peephole. Knock, knock, knock. Who are you?" she whispered, though her voice barely carried. He didn't answer, didn't move, just stood there, waiting. Kara backed away and grabbed her phone, hands trembling. No signal, no Wi-Fi. The service had been spotty since she moved in, but now there was nothing. The knocks continued, steady and patient. Hours passed. Kara curled in the farthest corner of her apartment, blankets drawn tight around her. Sleep was impossible. The knocking never stopped. Just as dawn's first light seeped through the blinds, the sound finally ceased. When she dared peek through the peephole again, the hallway was empty. She didn't sleep the next night, or the one after that. The hollow-eyed man came every time the clock struck midnight. Always the same. 3 knocks, a silent figure standing beyond the door, eyes hollow and hungry. Kara tried calling friends, the police, her landlord. No one could reach her. When she managed to get out during the day, no one believed her story. A few tenants refused to talk about it. The rest simply looked at her with pity. By the 7th night, she was at her breaking point. Midnight. Knock, knock, knock. Something in Kara snapped. Fueled by exhaustion and fear, she screamed through the door. "What do you want? Leave me alone!" Silence. Then, for the first time, the man spoke, his voice dry and hollow as dead leaves. "Let me in." Kara bolted to the kitchen, searching for anything to defend herself. Knife in hand, she crouched behind the counter. The knocks resumed, louder, more insistent. Knock, knock, knock. "Go away," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. The knocking stopped. But then, scraping. A slow, deliberate sound, as though long fingernails were dragging across the wood of the door. The noise grew louder, closer, until it seemed to crawl through the very walls of the apartment. The lights flickered and died. In the darkness, Kara heard a whisper. "Let me in." She didn't remember falling asleep. When she woke, it was afternoon. Sunlight poured through the windows. The door was whole, untouched, the hallway empty. Had it all been a nightmare? Desperate for answers, she sought out the building's oldest tenant, a stooped old woman named Mrs. Greaves who lived on the top floor. Wordlessly, the woman let Kara in. Her apartment was filled with strange talismans, salt lines, mirrors facing the doors, "You saw him," Mrs. Greaves said, as if reading Kara's mind. Kara nodded, shaking. "The hollow-eyed man comes for the lonely," the old woman explained. "He knocks night after night. If you open the door, he takes you." "Why me?" Kara whispered. "He chooses those who won't be missed." Kara didn't go home that night, or the next. But on the third night, she returned, heart hammering. Maybe it was foolish. Maybe it was curiosity. The clock neared midnight. Kara armed herself with salt and iron, as Mrs. Greaves had suggested. She drew protective symbols on the floor, her hands trembling. Midnight. Knock. 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 She forced herself to the peephole. There he was. The hollow-eyed man. But this time, he smiled. A thin, cruel smile that stretched far too wide. Without thinking, Kara whispered a defiant word. "No." The man's smile faded. Slowly he raised one hand and slid a yellowed envelope under the door. Then he was gone. For a long time, Kara couldn't move. When she finally dared approach, the envelope lay on the floor, dusty and cold. Inside was a single piece of parchment, a name, an address, her own, and beneath it, a date. Tonight's date. Kara fled the building before sunset. She never returned. A month later, the police found her abandoned apartment. The door hung ajar, salt lines scattered. No sign of Kara, no sign of struggle. But on the floor, written in deep gouges, were 3 words. "Let me in." New tenants still move into that old brick building. Some find the same flyer on their door. Some heed its warning. Some don't. And every so often, in the deep hours of the night, faint echoes of knocking can be heard through the halls, steady, patient, and waiting.